Good afternoon. I want to get started because we have a powerhouse panel here that we want to hear every single word and breath they take up here. So welcome to Secrets and Benefits to Building a Strong Network. My name is Jackie Lue Raia, and I'm the president of Alexina Consulting and a proud member of NJBIA. I'm so excited to be here in front of you to kick off this panel, and I thank you so much for being with us. Before we get started, one housekeeping item. I am going to ask our panelists to do a quick lightning round introduction of themselves, and I'm going to ask you to share something with us that is not in your bio. Oops. All right, so a quick click. So that would be wonderful in a second. The complete bios for the panelists can be found on the event webpage, which you can find by using the QR code on any of the signage you see here. And now, it is my pleasure to open up this session. So I'm going to say we are a good couple of hours into this amazing event, which I know, I feel, is the best networking event around. So thank you, NJBIA. And I thank Joanne Spears for kicking off what we're going to be talking about for the next hour. I think that TED Talk was pretty powerful, and I think our panelists here, we're going to get a little deeper, a little more uncomfortable, and a little more enlightening, if you will. So, two schools of thought here, I think, in the audience, and I think if we asked all the attendees here, you fall into one of two categories. The first one being, oh my gosh, it is so uncomfortable to network. How do people do it? The other school of thought is, oh my God, this is so easy. How do people not do it? So today, we want to talk about some hints, clues, tips on how to build a powerful network, all right? So we're going to start, and I'm going to go backwards from our questioning. So I'm going to start with Judy. Judy, would you mind to lightning round introduce yourself?
My name is Judy Sailer. I am the Director of Learning and Development at Prime Point, payroll HR company. The one thing that's not in my bio is I have a brand new German Shepherd puppy that I'm missing a lot today. So I really love you all for being here because it's hard when it's on.
And that bringing up pets is always a great conversation starter.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes. Hey, so Mary, how about you?
Hi, my name is Mary Baker. I am the CEO and founder of Baker Tax and Accounting Services. And one thing that is not in my bio, I love to laugh. I am goofy by heart, and I love it.
All right, excellent. Welcome, Mary. And Cynthia.
Thank you very much. Cynthia Hetherington, the Hetherington Group, Expert Investigations and Intelligence Services. We have a booth out there. We're partners in NJBIA, proud. But the non-bio piece would be I like extreme sports, scuba diving, fighting, sparring, and other things that are going to basically tempt my life.
Challenge accepted. I saw that coming. That is amazing. So all these things, it's like to zing people. I think to zing people and to surprise them with things that, like puppies, that's a lot of puppy, right? To really get their attention is one of the things I heard Joanne say, get their attention, keep their attention, be present. So you hear the conversation and you enjoy the conversation. So what you may not know is that four of us had a little meeting prior to this, a little bit ago. And how we're going to run today is that each of them has a bunch of pearls that I'm going to ask each of you to present, and I'm just going to go systematically down the line, and then we're going to go to Q&A. So each has like a forte, if you will, with this whole subject matter of networking. So I'm going to start with Cynthia. Okay, Cynthia, just the word networking, as we talked about before, makes some people just like really uncomfortable walking into a room. Walking into the building can set some people, hives break out and they start to hyperventilate. But you believe in embracing that discomfort, right? What word of advice would you give to your younger self and others when it comes to networking?
I do, and thank you. Discomfort is something that I feel we should all continually challenge ourselves with, which would explain the extreme sports. coming from my background, I don't belong in this industry. I'm not traditionally an investigator in intelligence. I'm a librarian. So what the heck am I doing here? Oh God, I'm a female too. So why am I running a security company? But what I would tell my younger self is keep at it. Go out there. Understand that the person that you're going to go and chat with is just as uncomfortable as you. They could walk in and be the owner of that room and everybody knows who that person is, but there's still that moment that they're walking in going, I'm going to get called out as an imposter. Understand it. Respect your feelings. You know, that imposter sitting there, and just push through it. Say hello to one person in that room and talk about that one thing, puppies, their shoes, the weather. I don't care how simple or silly it is. They're going to be so grateful that you started the conversation. And before you know it, you're going to feel really comfortable.
And, we spoke while we were waiting for the session to start about complimenting people these days. It's like, oh, am I allowed to say that anymore? Yeah, if I'm wearing shoes and I love those shoes, I'd love a compliment on those shoes. So I think that's a great conversation starter. So thank you for that. And you're absolutely right. I go into a room and I look for the person with equally as lost a look on their face as I have. And I just do this. I'm like, hi, and hey, do you not know anyone either? Right? And there's your common ground right there. So excellent. So can you share a specific example, Cynthia, with us of how you walk into a room full of strangers?
It's interesting because a lot of the time I'm walking in a room, I'm already known. I might not know them, but because of where I'm at in the industry, I'm the oddball out. So everyone's like, oh, there's the woman. She's that short. She looks like a librarian. It must be her. I mean, come on, I'm wearing a neck scarf. How many security guys wear sashes? But then I realized, and then this happened last week, I was in Australia and I'm going into an organization. I have no idea. They don't know who I am. And I'm like, oh, there's that moment. I thought about this time. And I was like, how can I take this moment that I'm feeling and bring it here? And I did exactly what I said. I walked in there and it was the most wonderful feeling that people didn't know me and I didn't know them. I actually had this epiphany where I said, I'm just an attendee like everybody else. I am just going to enjoy this every moment. I'm going to sit in there and be not on the stage. I'm going to listen to what the speakers have to offer. I'm going to learn something. Man, did I embrace that moment. And I really look forward to putting myself in new events and new moments again to bring that out and to enjoy that. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually going to look for opportunities where I don't know people and I could get in there and start mixing and mingling, new networking.
Give us a specific example. How do you start mixing and mingling?
Oh, I did exactly what you said earlier with the, well, you don't know anyone either? Like, hi, who are you? And kind of laugh about the awkwardness there for a second and immediately get over that hump. So they're kind of, we call them conference zombies. Kind of like, they're clutching that drink. They're not drinking it, but they're like walking around or trying to look like they're social. And you could see their hands are clenched and there's a little sweat going on the brow. And that's my target. Please remember, I'm in investigations and intelligence work. I'm used to targeting. Hey, oh my gosh. I'm new to this event. Am I talking to the right people? Who should we be paying attention to? And I make a joke of it. And that actually broke the ice. And all of a sudden you see the body language just changes and like, oh yeah, I know, I'm kind of new here too. When that doesn't work, my go-to is always shoes. I am a shoe horse. I love shoes. And I actually met an ambassador. Oh gosh, now I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the country. I'm still on Australian time, but I met an ambassador because I was talking about their shoes. And they're like,
female.
Female.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's definitely female. Plain black patent leathers for the guys, but we were at...
My husband would love if he complimented his shoes.
Yeah. All right. We were at a gala, and this was an invited guest. They were the speaker. I just walked right into him, and I was like, oh, so here you are at the event, and we're all wearing uncomfortable clothes, so I'm making fun of the uncomfortable clothes we're wearing. We look amazing, but we haven't eaten or breathed in an hour. And I was like, the shoes were like bright red patent red. And I was just like, those are stunning. And we just started carrying on a conversation, and it really just took us to this next level of, what do you do about shoes? How long do you wear them? And we just, honestly, we went sideways, which tends to happen with me, where I'm wearing flats because I had foot surgery. So we said, oh, I have foot surgery. I can't wear fun shoes now. Oh, yeah, I had my knee operated on. And there's also, you hit a certain age, and everything we talk about is the doctors we're visiting, the injuries we sustained, what our families are going through, what the kids are up to. So But these are just those common points where you connect as a human being. And I don't think it has anything to do even with a lot of our challenges of just networking. It's just post-COVID networking again. It's like, oh, I've got to put a skirt on and I should put a blazer on and get out there and look stunning, like I mentioned that you did when I saw you.
Thank you.
Yes, I called her on it.
Thank you so much. So just a show of hands, who travels and is forced to network internationally in the room? Raise your hand. Love it, love it. So Cynthia, you brought up a whole different world here for us, literally. When you're going into a strange country or a country that you don't or are unfamiliar with, and you got to think about customs and how am I fitting in and how do they see females and in this industry. Can you share with us, like, if there were any specific things that happened in Australia that you said, ooh, that's a little different from home. We're not in Jersey anymore.
Yes. In Australia, I was in Sydney and Melbourne. First of all, you have to say Melbourne, not Melbourne. Melbourne. See, I'm not going back. I'm just not going back. These are very culturally different cities. Very culturally different cities. Now, I'm always trying to be aware of my language and how I talk and treat people. I mean, just to be a decent human being. But it was a very colorful community for me. When I was in one particular, I was sitting in a hotel lobby and a gentleman, a man who was going under great duress, came in and laid down his whole kit in front of me and started howling. I mean, so essentially it knocked this down to a hobo came in and decided to use me as a target to make himself heard. And hotel security, nobody was dealing with that. And here I am, a person in an industry that helps people, but I can't step in because that would have been against what the protocol of that community would have seen it as. We call first responders. We wait for EMTs. We stand around and we look over the top of his head. We don't deal with him directly. And I'm a North Jersey raised girl. I'm like, deal with this. This man's in duress. Somebody needs to fix this right now. But I kept my tone and I kept my civility. And I said, well, gee whiz, this is truly a problem. And I hope that you fix this. Good luck with that in this community. I think I have a bigger challenge. I'm going to Vienna for what's called a Global Soft Conference in the next couple weeks. That's special operations. This is our most elite fighting force, Delta, SEAL Team 6, the creme de creme. And this is not my community, but they've asked me to be a keynote after having one speech with one woman, an uncomfortable conversation. This gal turned out to be the operations officer for this association. She's like, you are dynamic. I need you to speak to our people. And it's going to be a lot of ultra-military coming in. And now I'm trying to figure that out. So I'm going to be looking for tips from my colleagues and friends here.
So who is that? We're safe in this room, right? What a badass. That you're so cool. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Very, very powerful statements. So, Judy, how you doing down there?
I'm good.
Good. So, Judy, the saying goes, it's not what you know, it's who you know these days. Can you share with us how we are teaching the next generation of professionals? We have a lot of young people here at the conference. The art of networking and how it differs for men and women.
Mm-hmm. So, to start with, your net worth is driven by your network. You need to be reaching out to X number of people a day, depending on what your job is, to get where you want to be. And there are places that will teach you that, right? You can go to programs, you can, Sandler, et cetera, all of those items. For younger people right now, the Girl Scouts have a full-on mentoring program. I called them out last year. I'm calling them out again. If your daughters, if your nieces, if your cousins, if those ladies are not in a program, get them there. And it matters. If you look at the number of leadership opportunities for women still, that number is still low. And we need the next generations to be prepared to get up here and have these conversations and become those leaders that we need them to be. The Boy Scouts are doing a very similar program. When a boy becomes an Eagle Scout, they have a dinner for him, and the Boy Scouts of America introduce him to people in the industry that he wants to go to. He gets internships, he gets support. Like, we're working this to make sure that our next generations of leaders really do make it there. And I teach at Rider University, go Cranberry. I do find, I teach a class called Career Management. I know, right? Like, who had to do that when you were younger? Did anybody have to have a class like that? I got one. I make my students network. Don't be shocked if somebody reaches out to you. One of their projects is they have to go to LinkedIn and find somebody in the job that they want. And they have to reach out to them and ask to do an interview. And I tell them, can't be family, can't be friends, can't be your dad's partner, can't be your mom's partner. It has to be someone that you don't know. They have to get on a Zoom, they have to dress as if they're in an interview, and I put them through the rigors. Because these young people, they don't know how to do that. I have a 16-year-old, he's 6 foot tall, he's gonna be 6'3". He can talk to everybody, but he chooses not to. He's kind of more of an introvert. Probably my fault. With gaming, how many of you have children that have Xbox? Yeah, okay. We can have a drink later. He has talked to people from around the world. He was playing one day on his the Wii U, and a team from Japan asked him to join their group to play against something. And my husband is freaking out. And I said, just so you know, they think that's a 50-year-old female. He can't say anything to them. It's me. Like, I'm the one who set up the account. So they thought it was an adult. He has made college friends throughout the country, and I don't know how, because I really do monitor these things. My security friend over here will tell you. But these kids talk to each other about gaming, about anything. Everything, including us, just so you know. When we talk about the difference between, men and women networking, I'm sorry, fellas, I'm going to call you out. A guy can walk up to another guy and go, hey, did you see the game last night? And instantly there's a conversation. We do use shoes, right? I use shoes. I use oh, your dress is beautiful. I said, oh my God, your ring is amazing. Yes. The difficulty is men can see themselves collegially and they can help each other. Oh, here's this client. Here's this guy you should contact. Here's this. Women don't do that. We've been raised that we have to do it ourselves. So it is me, not you. And we talked about this when we met. Madeleine Albright said, women who don't uplift other women, there's a special place in hell for. You have to be each other's support. You can be in the same industry. There are a million people looking for all the different types of things that you may do, but you have to be there. You have to be involved. You have to talk. When it comes to women, we're aggressive. I am aggressive. I ain't even gonna lie. We want to be assertive. Nobody's gonna say it right because everybody has already that bias in their head. So we have to be the ones who are like, okay, I'm aggressive. Come on, let's go to drinks. Let's go talk. I got a product you could use. I could do this. I could do that. It gives you the opportunity to educate someone when they already have that bias, right? We're all trying to knock down biases at this point. One of the best things that I ever did with networking is we have a squad. A group of us go to an event together. We're all different entities. We're all different products. We work with each other. It's easier when you have somebody with you, that wingman, wingwoman thing. It's so much easier to start a conversation when it's like a couple people together. You don't feel like I'm going up and talking to this person because they're the other person in the room whose eyes are falling out of their head and they don't know who to talk to. It makes so much more sense to have someone with you, And it's even better when it's a friend because you can talk about anything, right? Clothes, shoes, whatever, when you're with your girlfriend or guy friend, and it doesn't sound like I'm trying to talk to you, I'm going to ask you about your shoes. It just comes off as conversation. It's enjoyable. You're having a good time. When I have two really good friends who could sell gasoline to someone on fire. I love to go to networking meetings with them because they will talk to everybody. And I value that because I'm kind of sort of inside an introvert with a lot of these things. It's so much easier when you have someone who can sell gasoline to someone on fire standing next to you because they will, hey, come on, let's go meet them. Okay, I'm going. It needs to be, you need to focus on your net worth being part of your network. And if that's the case, then you have to start setting your goals. I make my college kids do 20 minutes a week on their career, not their job, their career. How many of us take time every week to work on your career? Okay, 5. Love you. You have to focus on that. We focus on what I have to get typed today, what I have to get out in the mail today, what I have to do, who do I have to ship to, who do I need to call? We need our time. And it could be reading a book, reading a leadership book, taking 10 minutes away from your desk, whatever it is, 20 minutes for you, for your career. And that's the only way you're going to do it is if you focus on it.
So regarding your gasoline sellers, what is it about them? What's their secret?
I think they're just courageous. They're not afraid. And I subscribe to that. I worked in fundraising for about 20 years, and I would go and ask for money. That was like the big job, right? And if I asked someone for $1 million and they didn't clutch at their throat and fall to the ground, I didn't ask for enough. I needed to go higher. I can do that with fundraising. With work, it's different. And those folks, like, I didn't have any fear because in my mind, if I asked you for $1 million and you said no, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go ask somebody else. I've done my homework. I know the 6 people I need to talk to in a week to get us to $1 million. You said no, moving on. The worst they're gonna say is no. But with business, it's different with it for me. They're courageous. They just go.
Just go.
Just go.
Oh. So Judy, you had alluded before, you started to talk about what the Boy Scouts do and they create these relationships. Specifically, what they turn out to be is mentors, allies, whatever, someone who's going to champion that young person, right? And we all need, even at my tenured age, I still need champions, I still need allies, I still need, because we're constantly learning, right? And the day that you think there's nothing to learn, that's the day there's going to be trouble for you, right? So what word of advice can you share with young people today to make sure they have that champion or ally or mentor or sponsor? That's another word that we're talking about lately, sponsor.
You have to do some homework when it comes to this. And some of it is to figure out what room do you want to be in. With my college kids, I tell them, pick the job that you want, not your current, like not how you're dressed today. Pick that big job and then figure out what rooms do I have to be in, or what teams do I have to be in, or what projects do I have to be in to get the attention to move me up my chain. Because it is a ladder. It's always going to be a ladder. And you can either jump rungs because you have an ally in the room who's going to say, hey, that's a great project for such and such. She's got the talent to do that. Let's get her in there. You've got the opportunity for them to just name drop. You've got the opportunity to get in the room because that ally is going to say, you should come to this meeting with me so you can hear how this works. If we're not promoting, you're not getting in those rooms. And you need those allies. You really do. Men have allies. And there's nothing wrong with it. Both sides have that opportunity. In Boy Scouts, and I have a 16-year-old boy, that's why I keep referring to that. He has already had opportunities to meet engineers, to meet doctors, lawyers, everything because of the way they do merit badges. Girl Scouts have the same opportunity to do those things. With the boys, Eagle Scouts make up a huge proportion of the Fortune 500 leadership. Eagle Scouts hire Eagle Scouts. It has to be on your resume. As soon as they say it, you get above other people because of that. My nephew went into the Marine Corps. He did ROTC. We thought this was going to be great for him. He's going to, get ranked, blah, blah, blah. The recruiter said to him, oh, if you were an Eagle Scout, you'd actually make more money. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, ROTC is less than Eagle Scout? And it was like 2 grades down, which made no sense in my brain, of course. But you have to be willing to ask. And I had been with there was another event that I had been at, and we talked about allies and how do you get them. And the thought is we have to be other people's allies. We have to say, this person is doing a great job. I need her. And I will fully admit, every job I've ever had, I've always adopted a daughter, and I still have all of my daughters. And I've still helped them all because they're a wonderful group of young ladies. They're smart, they're bright, but they need that, hey, here, come to this event. When it comes to expecting someone to show up as your ally, they don't know anything about you necessarily. You've got to ask. You've got to put that moment out and say, hey, can I talk to you? Can we go for coffee? Can I do this? Can I do that? When I teach adults for courses, I have said to them, go to your boss's boss for this assignment and ask them those questions. And they're like, why? And I said, do you want them to know that you breathe? Do you want them to know where your desk is? Do you want them to come and talk to you and collegially start to nurture you? That's the only way you're going to do it. They got to know about you. We talk about in work, networking. We start this networking and we're at this level. We've got to get deeper in that relationship before we start sharing contacts and pulling you and saying, hey, come and talk to this person. They need accounting services. If I don't know you, I'm not going to think about that. So you have to be prepared to look for an ally, to ask for the ally, and then to reciprocate that because they want you to make them look good. It's a double-edged sword. If they're willing to be your ally, you've got to do the work because they're going to be looking for that.
So you had mentioned before when you assign your writer students, to do that interview, they can't ask their parents. They can't ask their parents' partners. They can't. But when you're looking for an ally or a sponsor or a mentor, it's okay. That's sometimes the easiest place to go is someone within your family who can connect you, right? So permission to proceed with family and friends?
Family and friends and not your parents. I have so many young people who will come into my class, and I get myself in trouble, not gonna lie, who midway through the semester say, can you come and help me sit down and talk to my dad? Why? Because I don't want to be an accountant. Then why did you choose an accounting degree? Because that's what my dad does. Or that's what my mom does.
That's a whole.
It is. I know it is. I know.
We'll reserve that for next year.
Yeah, that'll be another conversation. But when it's not your mom and dad, because let's be honest, as parents, we all have expectations of our children. That expectations move to the side. Now it's just about where do you want to be in life? What do you want to do? And that gives them the space to open and say, this is what I really like.
Yeah, I'm not saying for your mom and dad to be your ally. I'm saying to ask them for a hook in to someone they
Oh, okay.
an ally. Yeah? Good?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. All right. Next year we're going to... Yes, you have to go ahead. I would be here. There you go. Family business, right? Excellent. Love it. All right. Excellent. Mary. Now, I'm going to assume that people have read the bios, and I'm going to jump right into something because you are a powerhouse when it comes to networking, right? So you have built your successful business on network, and it's a perpetual build.
Yes.
Right? So what advice can you share when preparing for a networking event?
Okay. So my first advice is networking. What does networking mean to me? Networking to me means building relationships, right? So when you are preparing to attend a networking event, say today you decided to come to this event. First thing, I prepare. I go extra here. I did go buy a little new dress, right? Just to attend, right? First, I want to make sure my appearance is rememberable, right? you know me, you remember me, and prepare for it. The second thing I do, I go and look at the organization webpage, event, just to see who's attending, who is going to be the speaker, who are the attendees. And the reason why I do that, because there may be someone at that event that I will never be able to get to if I try to call their company or their direct line. So I make sure I go look and see who are the attendees, who are the speakers, and put that on my agenda to make sure that when I'm at that networking event, that I meet that person, right? Because that may be the only opportunity that I'll ever get to meet this person one-on-one when her guards are down, when his guards are down, right? Prepare. Look at the organization. Who event you attended, what organization. I may never get to meet the president of the organization one-on-one. If I call the office, you're not going to get that person. But if you at that event, you give that person a compliment at that event, that woman, that female will remember you at all times. So always prepare when you go to an event. It's about building a relationship. It's not just networking. When you're going to that event, say, okay, what can I bring to this event when I'm attending?
I love that advice because certainly I've been in that situation a lot. And I've noticed that while NJBIA is stellar at sharing attendee lists with the participants, and so I come through that baby, but good. And if I didn't get a chance to meet the 500 women and men who are here, for sure I'm going to send them an email, I'm going to pick up the phone, I'm going to call them. And LinkedIn and Facebook now, if you're interested on Facebook, your name shows up. And if you say that you're attending, it shows up on LinkedIn. So two great no-cost ways of kind of getting ready, right? Okay. So I am all about learning perpetually, but very importantly, learning from mistakes, right? Don't beat yourself up over it. It happens. You don't beat your staff up over it. The people that are around you, don't beat them up, but certainly learn from it. So, Mary, tough question for you. With all the networking experience you have had, what has been the biggest misstep that you have taken, and what would you do differently today to change the outcome?
Ooh.
I told you it was a big one.
Right. One of my biggest missteps in networking is follow-up. That is one of the worst mistakes you can ever do. If you meet someone at an event, and that is a person that you definitely want to build a relationship with, follow up. Not a month later, not weeks later, a couple of days later. So that person can remember who you are. I attended a networking event, and this person was super. And I actually attended the event. I spoke to the person briefly, and I did not follow up. And the reason why I did not follow up, I'll be honest with you, I felt intimidated. I felt like, okay, am I worthy enough to reach out to this person and ask her to treat her to lunch, right? Or to a cup of coffee or something like that. And that was the worst mistake I ever did, because if I would have followed up, it would have given me opportunities to just grow in my business. So definitely, if you're networking, if you meet someone here today, and I hope all of you ladies at least meet 3 minimum people that you do not know today, and follow up. It could be a coffee break or a lunch break, just to hear about them. Follow up.
So, Mary, I hope the answer is going to be the one I'm looking for. Is there a time limit on follow-up?
It's not, but you want to do it at least within a week, so the person can remember who you are. If we all out here networking, If that person really, really did not stand out to you, you want to make sure it's within a week so that that person can remember you, right? You're going to remember something about that person. Hey, we talk about the shoes. Oh, I remember those shoes. How are those shoes? Are they nice? What you doing with those shoes, right? So you want to always call that person and let that person know, I paid attention to you. I remember what you said. That person may say one day, I'm missing my pet, right? Ask, how is your pet doing, right? Did he survive today while you were gone, right?
Maybe.
Just to break the ice, but it is so important that you do follow up, I'd say minimum a week so the person can remember who you was.
Oh, and so collecting, I know in today's day and age, it's like a QR code and the LinkedIn blast, everybody log in, and it's really complicated. So that's why we have to continually learn how to network properly. And so I thank you for sharing that. So we talked about this earlier before in general session, where you have got to learn to just share the art of you. There is a way to do it without being arrogant. There is a way to do it without saying, I am so great, you need to come have coffee with me, right? It's like, and this is where the research comes in. It's like, okay, I know this person, I know what they're about, I know what their needs are, I know what they do. Let me go tell them in the 2 seconds that I have with them what I could bring to their table. And that is the memorable thing. So to me, and I gotta tell you, it happens here. It's been a year since we were together, and I'm seeing people today that I haven't seen in a year. And we promised each other, oh yeah, we'll get together. Well, who knows where the last year went? It disappeared. I have no idea. But I still want to go to coffee with you, and I still want to go have lunch, and we still have things that we can do together. So I'm gonna say, even if it's over a week, pick up the phone, send the email, hey, how's your puppy? I know you may not remember me, but we had just a great conversation at WBLF. Would love to go for that coffee we talked about, right? And what's the worst that could happen? Who are you? You lost nothing. Maybe a little self-confidence, but if you don't try, the answer is always going to be no. All right, we have our panel here. We have exactly 2 minutes. So I know this is going to be tough. In a nutshell, share with our amazing audience here today one pearl for them to take away to make themselves as powerful a networker as you all are. So I'm going to start with Judy.
I really do hinge on, your net worth is in your network. You have got to work on that as a project. And it may come off a little stalkerish, but you need to know people, and you need to be able to reach that, because that's where you're going to find your success.
All right. Excellent. All right, Mary.
Be yourself. When you meet a person, they can feel that vibe immediately, right? You don't have to always be a diva. You don't have to always be someone that you pretend to be. Be yourself, because people do connect with your vibe. Always be yourself.
Love that. Love that. Authenticity, right? Because whatever it is, a year ago you met this person, if you were your authentic you would remember who that person was a year later, right? And not make stuff up. Excellent. All right, and finally, Cynthia, your pearl, please.
My mama said I'm a diva, so therefore it's true. And everything that we've been saying is really impactful. I think, honestly, if you're really having a conversation that engages the person across from you, I could even say, like, Vince and I got, bonded instantly, finding a common ground about a topic, and I met him 20 minutes ago. And just finding that common ground to talk with that person and have that great conversation. If you don't find a common ground with the human being across from you, please get out of your house a little more often and stop watching Netflix. Or maybe Netflix is your conversation. But I would also really passionately add that, especially as my company celebrating 25 years this coming October 1st, reach back and grasp that younger person and drag them along with you. I have 2 of them out there at the booth right now, and whether they like it or not, you are networking, you are networking, you are networking. So the same pattern of behavior really helps with them. So be yourself, love it, and help the next person up.
Love it. And don't forget the network that you built 25 years ago. So if people ask me, what do you do? I say, I am a professional networker. I've been in sales my entire professional life, and all I do is network. And what does that mean? It's just having conversations with people and putting somewhere in your memory bank, ooh, that's a hot button for that person. That's a need someday, maybe I call that person. And just do it. Don't be shy. Just do it. All right. So thank you so much, panel. I would love now to see if we have any questions from the audience. Yes. There's a mic coming.
Hi, Nathalie Haywood, POC Stock.
Rise, my friend.
Rise. I rise. Nathalie Haywood, POC Stock. We're a platform for people of color to find stock. We're a platform for imagery for people of color. So, new movement. But my question is around the digital age. With so much networking now happening, especially post-COVID online, what are suggestions for digitally networking? Because we're so used to doing it in person.
Can I just share one thing, and then I'm going to ask the panel. If you're using LinkedIn, or if you're not using LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn. All right? Without a doubt. If you're afraid of it, get unafraid of it, because it is a powerful tool. But if you want to truly network on LinkedIn, please send a personal note. I want to link in with you because I too do whatever. But if you're just going to send a note that says, I want to link in with you, I'm not accepting you. If you can't take the time to tell me why we should be connected and linked, then I'm not going to take the time to accept, right? It's what you put into it, you're going to get out of it. Panelists, what do you think?
Well, on that note, don't fill up my inbox in LinkedIn. I can't tell you how many, there's got to be 100 messages in there, and I have not spoken to 97 of those people. I don't know them. They're just sending, and they're, instead of sending an invitation, they're trying to communicate with me. I, like humans, I would rather talk to you and see your face than get these email or communications from them. The second thing is, make sure the person is actually a person. Having a 16-year-old online and access to a lot more things than I ever thought would come around, you have to be sure for yourself, especially in business, that the person you're talking to is who they say they are. Because anybody can go steal any one of your photos and make a new profile, and you wouldn't even know what was going on. All right?
Safety issues. Mary, what do you think?
For me, it's be careful of what you put on your digital, whether it's personal or professional. Because most of the time when someone meets you, the first thing they do is go Google you, right? Whether it's personal or professional. If I see you personally doing whatever, standing on that bar stool or whatever, right?
Judged.
Right. You feel judged. I'm going to think about it for a minute, right? And the reason why I say that, even though you're separating them two, I'm thinking, okay, is this person really concerned with how people are viewing them professionally? Because we all know, as soon as we meet someone, we go Google. I go Google the person immediately, because that is telling me, okay, do I want to engage with this person professionally or do I not? Or then too, somebody may Google you and say, hey, she has a puppy. I like animals. That's a connection on the personal side. So for me, digitally, you want to be careful of what you put out there about you on the personal side and professional side. It's so important.
Can I add one thing to that? you. So every time I get my roster for my students, I go Google them. And they're like, I have my privacy settings on. Google does not acknowledge privacy settings on Facebook. Get that right now. I have seen drinking parties. I have seen fraternity parties. I have seen parts of people's bodies that I don't want to see online. And I go into class, the first class, and we start talking, and then we talk about, what does your digital say about you? And then I say, oh, well, I looked you all up. And they're all like this. It's like, too late. And screenshots last forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Cynthia, what do you think?
Well, I'm not even going to touch it because digital vulnerability investigations is actually what we do.
Oh, okay. So they should all call you.
So go talk to the booths out there. But LinkedIn is my jam. I have over 25,000 connections and over 25,000 followers. I do sit in that DM and I make business, man. I transition probably 20% of every communication that comes in there. I'm talking to Fortune 100 companies because I am reaching out and touching. I'm traveling constantly. I'm leave here, I go right back to the airport. I'm heading down Tampa. So I'm like on an airplane, sitting on a treadmill. Happy birthday. Congratulations on your job transition. Now, granted, I have at least 50 Nigerian princes and more SEO and financial service opportunities than you could ever imagine. 90% are probably disingenuine, but those constant communications, like I sent a major security director a quick happy birthday, you know, because it's been, you shouldn't have your birthdays on your LinkedIn. Okay, please take those down. Oh, hey, Cynthia, I'm in an airport and heading out to China. I'm in San Francisco. Can you give me a quick call? Well, my butt's off the couch. I stopped Netflixing and I'm on a call with them going, hey, how's it going, Dean? What's going on? Yeah, you know what? You drop me a message and I have this thing that needs to be, and I'm in the crisis business, so these things pop up for us, but LinkedIn is just, it's ridiculously successful for me.
Yeah.
And I'm appreciative. I spend that $25 a month for the professional service, so I also get to see everybody who's looking at me, and I also leverage that as well. And we could teach you all that. It's not a hard skill. It's a great way to adapt. But if you can't do your own LinkedIn, please have your admins sit in your DMs because you will miss opportunities. Everyone here is going to look me up in LinkedIn. I know that. I'm already seeing it. Yeah. And I'm going to make sure I reach out and say hello because it's my way of connecting.
That's the key, though. If you're going to start it, you got to stick with it.
Yeah.
If you're going to open any account, and, you know, I had a friend of mine, love her dearly, because she was telling me how antiquated Facebook is and that I shouldn't use it anymore. I get so much joy out of Facebook, it's going to be a long time before I close that account, right? But I said to her, I said, you have no idea the amount of business that I get from Facebook because you put relevant things on there. And when you do, people are like, oh, I didn't know she was doing that. Or, oh, I didn't know that conference was starting. And, oh, she's giving away some great giveaways. Everybody's come visit my table, by the way, right in the general session. But if you're not ready to manage it, don't do it. Because the worst thing that can happen is you have a CEO of one of your top priority people that you want to talk to, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'd love to have coffee, and you don't answer it. Missed opportunity. Not only is it missed opportunity, but it is a strike against your work ethic. It's like, I'm the CEO. She's not going to answer my call. She's not going to answer my LinkedIn. So, yeah, so that's what I say to that. Did we answer your question in all that longness? All right. All right. So do you have a LinkedIn? Oh, my LinkedIn is no. Excellent. Nice.
Are we friends?
Excellent.